Yo, this is Lefty. So, I debated about going over this pay-per-view. This is the video of the top rank prospect pay-per-view they're throwing out. Supposedly, Bob Arum said that supposedly they couldn't find a spot for these guys. They needed work. And HBO cut back on their budget this year. I think for the last couple years. But HBO cut back on their budget. And he's not, Arum isn't going to take these guys to PBC or nothing. So we got a pay-per-view that are pretty much, I wouldn't expect none of these fights to be competitive that much. However, it is boxing, so I'm going to cover it. And, I really hope that he gets these guys in competitive matchups later on this year. And I want to see how they develop. I want to see if they added anything new in their game. So here we go, first fight. Magdaleno versus Santos. Magdaleno got, in my opinion, an absolute gift of a decision against Nonito Donaire. And I was at the stadium, actually, at the Thomas Mack Center in Vegas for the Pacquiao fight later on. And then the Magdaleno fight was like the co-main or whatever it was. And I just felt like Magdaleno got hurt in that fight more times than Donaire did. And basically, the whole stadium didn't like the decision. Obviously, there was a huge Filipino contingent there, but, to me, it just looked like the wrong guy got the nod, especially when Donaire's been at the top of the game for so long, and he's paid his dues, and you're just going to give this kid the decision. It just didn't look right. It didn't sit right with me. That's my opinion on that. However, Magdaleno, I want to see him get this guy out of there. I want to see him get this guy out of there early. And I want to see him justify that garbage decision he got against Donaire. And it's my opinion that it was garbage. It was controversial. But be it as it may, I think I would like to see him knock out this guy. And we'll see what happens. Magdaleno's got a tricky style. But also, he can land shots too, and he could be aggressive. However, he was complacent in the last half of that Donaire fight, which allowed Donaire to get off. I want to see if he stays on this guy and gets him out of there with no complacency. I want to see him land that right hand, and I want to see him knock out this guy. All right. Now, on to Ramirez versus Bursak. No idea who that guy is. And I want to say his record is 34-3. He's from the Ukraine. He's from Kiev. So, I expect him to have a straight up and down European kind of style, a basic style, a well-schooled style. And he came up in that amateur program. So I want to see, he's going to be well-schooled. He's going to do everything fine. He's going to go in there and, if I know that program, because we just, my last video we just covered 3 guys that came out of that program. So I don't expect this guy to be a world beater, but I do expect him to be solid fundamentally. So, with that being said, I think it's going to take time for Ramirez to break this guy down. And I think, instead of a stoppage in the 4th or 5th round, I expect it to go 8 or 9. Just for the simple fact that I think this guy that he's facing is, he should be solid and he should be well-schooled enough to weather Ramirez's attack. Even though it's vicious, I expect him to do that. Look for Ramirez to break him down with his signature body shots. Also, look for this guy to counter Ramirez, because Ramirez is a taller fighter with longer arms, that is actually throwing inside to the body. So I'd expect Bursak, if he's well schooled, as well schooled as that amateur program would make him out to be, to actually go for headshots while Ramirez is focusing on the body. Look for Ramirez's hands to be down, for Ramirez to catch a few, but I think he's going to break him down around the 8th or 9th round. So on to the main event, Oscar Valdez against Marriaga. Marriaga, I want to say he fought the Puerto Rican prospect, didn't he? No, he didn't. He fought with Walters. He fought with Walters before. It was at 126 or 130. I want to say it was at 126, and it was Walters' last fight at 126 before he moved up to super featherweight at 130. So Marriaga, he obviously he's got a tricky style. If you make Walters fight a boring fight, you have to have a tricky style. However, I believe that Valdez has more in his arsenal than Walters does. Walters has that jab and a big right hand. Valdez is better at pot shotting. He's got a style where his speed helps him land his power in such a way that his opponents don't see his punches coming, and therefore they can't react. And since they don't have time to react, it causes knockouts, if that makes sense. So I expect Valdez to get him out of there. He's gonna be in the main event in his first pay-per-view. He's gonna be in his first pay-per-view as the main eventer. I expect him to come out there firing. Maybe the first round, maybe come out slow in the first round, and then toward the end of the first round, he starts landing shots, and then it's just an avalanche, and he ends up knocking this dude out in the 5th or 6th round. I don't expect it to go 6, and Valdez should aim to get him out of there quick. If it goes past 6, I'm disappointed, just for the simple fact that, dude, you're a main eventer now. You headline your first card. Now it's time to go out there and go get it. And so what if this dude is tricky? You got to entertain. You're the guy. You're the main event. You're the attraction. Go out there and earn it. So that's what I'm predicting. Sub me on this video, or like the video, sub me. And hit me up in the comment section if you want to have any other fighter profiles. I'm about 16 fights with my latest profile. I'm 16 fights into that career. That video will be out before the end of the month, so look out for that. And hit me up with another fighter profile, guys and ladies. So, lefties out. Have a good weekend. We got a lot of boxing. Not the best quality, but we got quantity. So, have a good weekend.